All right, guys, this is going to be a fraction of what I'm putting together in the model that I am pushing out to veterans to help themselves take their fucking life back. This is a portion of it. So I want to give this as an illustration of like how I think and how I feel like it really fucking helps veterans. And I'm also going to frame this from a lens of like, there's actually nothing wrong with you. The systems that you're in are all fucked up and you are picking up on that. And because you're basically gaslit every step of the way, you have somehow convinced yourself that like you're doing something wrong, or like there's something wrong with you, or you're asking too much of people, or whatever it is. So I want to show you this. You don't want a civilian for a therapist. Mine is a vet and she understands. Okay, I'm actually going to frame this in like a physics type perspective, a mechanical perspective. Love my drawing. I wonder who's the veteran and I wonder who's the therapist. So, all right. These stand for, I know it's backwards, but you can handle one letter backwards, all right? And maybe this one will be just fine. So B stands for bandwidth. C stands for capacity. And I stands for identity, all right? So every person has different levels of these three things. And depending on how your levels are, it's going to say emit, you can call it like a certain frequency off of you. And when you're around people that are in very similar like strength levels, you can call it, of these three things, when you're around people that are similar to you, you will have a better connection with them naturally. You'll just be able to have conversations more easily, and you have like an understanding of each other. It's less about like your knowledge about things or your values and stuff like that. But it's more about how your frequencies are interacting with each other, because we all have electromagnetic fields around us, and how you guys are interacting with the other person is what's going to give you the vibes. So let's give an example of like how we can apply this in a therapy situation. I'm going to start with actually capacity. I'm going to start with capacity, which is basically like in the field around you, there's a shit ton of energy always coming your way. And veterans have a very wide capacity. So like they can handle a lot coming in, like because of their awareness. They've seen a lot of shit. They've had a lot of life experience. So they have perspective. So they can see a lot of things. So they can pull in a lot of information at once. A lot of times, civilians have limited capacity. They've only seen so much in their lifetime. And they're operating off of a really narrow frame of like what they can pull into their awareness. So for example, they may just be noticing only your body movements. They may just be noticing only the words you're saying. They're not noticing the nuances necessarily of like the tone or whatever it is. Now, therapists are trained to spot those things. But say the average like civilian who doesn't look across the street before they fucking cross it would be an example of this. They're just like in la la land because they don't have a lot of capacity to pull in information. So your bandwidth is how much of this information can you process at one given moment. This is a nervous system thing. So a lot of people with ADHD are dealing with a shit ton of information coming in and not enough their processing speed isn't fast enough. So they get like almost like a traffic jam in their physical body and it feels really uncomfortable. And a lot of times it just stays up here and it's just like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. My head is going all over the place. It's because you have a lot coming in and you don't have the bandwidth to do something with it. So bandwidth and capacity, they kind of work together. So veterans tend to have a like narrower bandwidth, and how I view bandwidth is kind of like you can view it as like rungs on the ladder of awareness. So like, yes, you can take a lot of information in if you have a lot of capacity, But if you're standing on the ground level of a ladder, then you're going to be pulling in a lot of ground level information, and you're not going to be up here seeing the whole picture. This has to do with nervous system. This is like when your nervous system is clamped down, your bandwidth also clamps down. So you're not going to be able to process this information quick enough as it's coming in. So you're often going to feel delayed in your experience. Like stuff's gonna happen and then you're just reacting, and you don't have time to like think or like make a informed decision because you're just like, you know, like having to take action. So then lastly, identity. Identity is like what you're made of, which are like your belief systems, your values, like who you think you are, basically. And your identity is going to be the make or break of how you pull in this information and then how you take action on it. So it's like the capacity is how much you can see. The bandwidth is what rung of the ladder are you on? Are you seeing the world at that moment from like a higher perspective and you have a wide capacity? Or you have a wide capacity and you're on the lower rungs, that's going to be pretty fucking chaotic for you. Especially because when you have a narrow bandwidth, you're often in fight, flight, or like some sort of like survival type state, which means you're often in a fear-based state. So all the information you're pulling in is going to be filtered through a lens of fear. So based on the belief systems of this veteran, so let's just say you don't want a civilian therapist for a therapist, because in this interaction, you're feeling each other's frequency, and there's a fucking major mismatch happening, and you can feel it. You're gonna try to make sense of that sensation through like, oh, they don't understand me, they're just a civilian, or like they don't fucking care, or whatever it is that you come up with about like why you're feeling that resistance within you. But in reality, it's just because they're not on the same, they're not as close to you as they need to be able to connect with you effectively. So a lot of veterans' belief systems are like they put themselves on a lower rung of the hierarchy. So like they're less than when it comes to, say, when they're in a situation where there's authority involved. So like this therapist is in the position of authority in that moment, in that room. So they're going to default to like how they're supposed to act around authority. Don't say shit, hold it in, whatever. But the biggest issue is their system is telling them bad match, bad match, bad match. And then their identity, their belief system is going to try to override that intuition that they're feeling of like bad match, resistance, don't like it, change it, do something, fix it. Their identity is going to override and be like, we don't just walk out of a room when bad shit's happening. We suck it up. Or we don't want to like be mean to this person who's trying to help me. Or they might internalize it of like, I must be so dense, or there's something wrong with me about like why I'm feeling this way. And it's just compounding their own fucking shame already. So that's the quickest way I can give you. This might go over a lot of people's heads, but I'm hoping that it lands, because this, when veterans can understand this in a mechanical way, they're going to be way more likely to heal from whatever the fuck they're going through, because it's coming from a lens of neutrality rather than like you're fucked up, you're broken, there's something wrong with you. It's not that at all. You're actually way more advanced in a lot of ways as a human, and they're the ones that are lagging.